Hey guys, what's up? We're back with another video. This week we're still in our Bible in 90 days, and this week we read through Isaiah and a little bit of Jeremiah, and I just wanted to introduce you guys to our new worship leader, Sam. A lot of you know him because he has been around for quite a long time and has served on worship, but now he's in charge of everything. So we're grateful for him and all he's doing for us. And one of the things we were reading about in the beginning of Jeremiah is God just talking to him, and he's like, I'm too young for this, right? And Sam and I are both pretty young, I feel, for the positions we have. We're both leaders, right? And so we just wanted to talk about, like, I don't know, kind of what it's like to be a young person, and if we think that maybe we are too young, or maybe we're right where we're supposed to be. So how young were you when you started doing like worship?
When I started playing guitar, first of all, I started playing guitar just so I could serve on the worship team at my church.
I love that story.
But I was 14, and definitely I was young when I was a teenager, and it's kind of probably weird a little bit to have effectively kids just help lead in worship, you know, but my faith was my own. I think that's what really, and God pulled me to it, and that's really what made it what it was. And just there's nothing from the moment I first started doing it, there's nothing I found that I'd rather be doing than pouring out my praise to God.
Yeah, I think that's like the coolest story, that you were like, I want to serve on the worship team, so I'll just learn how to play an instrument really quick. And like, I just feel like if there's anyone who feels called to do something like that, and you're that passionate about it, that you go out and learn a whole instrument, then you deserve to be up there, even more so than maybe anyone else. And so I love that saying that I know we talked about, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And we see that so much in scripture, how he'll call like the most random people that like are bad people, or were bad people, or still are, or just like really aren't qualified to be like leading, who like have stutters, or like who don't feel like they're old enough, who don't feel like they're qualified for the position. He's like, no, you're the one, like, you're it.
You know, one of the best examples of that is Paul, and you know, that is the last person anybody would expect to be praising Jesus' name and going out and really just spreading the gospel, but he completely transforms and flips around his life. And I think that's true of many different people. And I mean, you know, and Paul in his letter to Timothy, in 1 Timothy 4, kind of writes about how don't let anyone look down on you because of your youth. And I mean, the flip side would be true if you're older and you feel like you're too old to serve. Whoever you are, whatever age you are at life, if God calls you to serve, God calls you to serve, and that's the bottom line. Be an example to others is what Paul says. And so really it's just, all I want to do is just pour out my heart and passionate worship. And I mean, that's just like, if I can do that here and serve and be useful for God's kingdom, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
It's not about age, and it's not about skill. It's not about having the most being the most perfect person for the job, but ultimately it's just about just being where God needs me when he needs me there.
I love that. I think it's such a good point too, how you brought up, like, you can never be too young, you can never be too old, you can never be like, your wealth status doesn't matter, like who you are, it's just like what God calls you to do. And I love talking to people, and they're like, I don't know why I started, I just felt like I should. And I'm like, oh, if that's a calling from God, I don't know what is, you know. And so we love that. And this week we're reading through you guys are reading through Jeremiah. I think we're finishing Jeremiah, and maybe we'll be in the next book. But we've been having so much fun reading through it in 90 days. We've been hanging in there pretty well. I've been having to catch up sometimes, but Pastor Jeff is like the #1 leader of this whole adventure, and he's days ahead of everyone. I'm like, I don't even know. I gotta catch up from last week's, but as long as you're hanging in there with us, if you haven't started, now's the perfect time. It's always the perfect time to start or restart. And we will see you on Sunday, and hopefully next week's video.
All right.
Thanks.